Greetings hobbyists and welcome to another Blender Basics video. All of these videos are designed for people relatively new to Blender looking to get a grip on exactly what this powerful program can do. And we'll cover all the elements that you need to know to get started, including things like navigation, manipulating objects, and all those tools that you need to achieve the results you're looking for. We'll do this in a series of short videos so they're all clearly labelled so you can easily search for them. And in each video we'll cover the bare basics while going on to things that are slightly more advanced so that as you continue on your journey through Blender, you can improve the way that you use these different elements. And in this video we're talking through Blender's edit mode. So starting with the basics, there are two ways of getting into edit mode. The first is that we come into the top left hand corner here where we're currently in object mode, click it and you can see we've got our other different modes that we can go into and we want edit mode. We get additional options to the T menu over here. And we get another menu here of what we're able to select in edit mode, with this current one being vertices, and you can hold down shift to select more than one. Then we've got edge mode here, where we can select our edges, and again hold down shift to select more than one, and face mode here, where we can select faces, and again hold down shift and you can select more than one. The other thing that you should be aware of is that if you're in edge mode or vertex mode, if you hold down shift and select all the edges around a face, you have effectively selected that face as well. The other way, let's go back into object mode, of getting into edit mode is just by hitting tab. And that brings us into whatever mode we were last into, and if you want to change between modes as well as coming up here, you can hit 1 to go into vertex mode, 2 for edge mode, and 3 for face mode. And I find that much quicker to do. In fact, I actually use an add-on to make it even faster than that, but that's not the focus of this video. We will talk about add-ons in another video. And just like in object mode, you can drag and select multiples of whatever we're in. So for example, this is vertex mode. While we're here, one thing you might have noticed in this video is that my vertices are slightly larger than yours are and the lines are slightly thicker. I do that just to make them easier to see in YouTube videos, but I actually got to the point where I just generally prefer it in the settings. If you'd like to do that yourself, there's a link in the description covering how I do that and other things to do with what I prefer in my 3D viewport, and that gives you the control to change what you want. Now, the basics of this are exactly the same as object mode, so I'm not going to spend loads of time going through them, but I will very rapidly. We can move. So if I press G, we're moving everything around. If I press Z, we lock to the Z axis, or I can hold down my middle mouse button and go to one of the axes and lock to that. So that's G. Or alternatively, if you prefer them, you can use the options in the T panel, but I find it easier and quicker to use the keys, and you do get used to those hotkeys. One difference that we should know between object mode and edit mode is, as well as being able to lock to axes, if I hit G and then hit G again, we will lock along an edge that a vertex is on. So we can just keep on one of those edges and move our vertex along that, and we can do that for multiple vertices as well. So GG, and then we'll lock to moving that way. So that is a useful tool. The other thing we can do is press GG to lock, and if we want to go further upwards on the Z-axis in this instance, we can just get onto that edge, press C to clamp onto that, and then we can move along that edge as we choose. So that's grab. Likewise, with all of the other things, we can do everything the same. So I'm not going to go through all of them in much detail, but if we press 3 and go into face mode, if I select that face and hit R, we can rotate it. If we hit S, we can scale it. So everything works exactly the same if you wanted to make some sort of trapezium type shape. Let's undo that. So in most instances, everything is the same. But we gain a whole raft of additional options here. I'm not going to go through all of them, but I do want to go through the main ones. And that is that we can start breaking up our object more. We can use something called the loop cut tool. Okay, and if we go there, we start getting our option to cut our mesh and put an additional edge on it. Now, I actually prefer to do this with the shortcuts, so Control and R, and we can scroll up to have more cuts. You can see here we've got 1, then 2, then 3, and these will be equally distanced along the edge. And if we go to just 1, let's say, and click, we then can move along that edge to decide where we want to put it. So we could go, for example, there. So that is Control and R, or our loop cut. Now I've just come into another file here because I want to demonstrate something that's important about the edge sliding, and from that, something that's important for the edge loop tool. So if we just go into edit mode and we select these two vertices, and what we're going to do is press GG to slide them along. If we come to these vertices here, all the way to the side, we click on one of these vertices and start moving it, you'll notice that we've now got two vertices on top of each other, and that can cause some issues because you've got a face here that's infinitely thin. Let's undo that. Now, if you don't want that to be a problem, you can always join those vertices together, and there are two ways of doing that. Either when they are together, you can select them, so I'm just going to Shift and Z to make sure I can select both, and then press M and then merge by distance, and then now they are together. You could have also hit A to select everything and then merged everything by distance, or we've got in the top right hand corner an option for auto merge vertices, and if I click that and GG, anytime things come together or vertices get very close to each other, they will automatically merge together. Now, the reason this is related to the loop cut tool is if I control an R here, we get our loop cut as we'd expect. It goes all the way around our object. But if I try to do this on this edge, so control and R, you'll notice it is only doing it across this one face. And that is because the loop cut tool is based around working with quads. And a quad is any face that is made up of 4 edges and 4 vertices. So in the instance of the top here, this is now a tri, a face with only 3 vertices and 3 edges. And anything that isn't 4 edges and vertices will have a problem with your loop cut. Or I say a problem, you just need to be aware that it won't cut through it. And sometimes that is the desirable result. So I just wanted to mention that as a quick tip, so people don't get stuck on that. We also have the inset function. Let's go into face mode, so with 3 and select a face, and then if we use the inset function, which is either here and we get this circle which we can grab to do it, or while selecting this we could just hit I and we start insetting our cube's face. Now do be careful with this. If you go too far, you're going to create a load of problems, and you can see this face fighting where we get this flickering look to the shapes, and if we go too far we're causing even more problems, so we don't want to go too far with that. And then click, and then you've got this face ready to go. And again, if you change your mind, you can come to the options in the bottom left hand corner, as long as you haven't done anything else, and change what you're doing. Now there's loads of options here. I've recently done a video on insetting and all of the options that are attached to it. There's a link in the description to that, because there are a lot of options here and we're just covering the basics, but that should be enough for now. And obviously once you've done that, we can just G and then in this instance lock to Y, and we could move that out if we wanted to make a different shape. Then we have our Bevel Tool. If I just go into edge mode, we can either select that here or we can press Ctrl and B and that will bevel. Scrolling up, we'll change the number of segments, making it more or less round. Now how far you want to go with this is up to you, and how segmented you want this. If you're doing this for 3D printing, you want this probably pretty smooth. If you're doing this for game design, then you might need it less smooth, because you're going to use some other tricks to make it look smooth in game. So that's up to you. If you go down to 1, you get this nice perfect 45-degree cut, and then moving your mouse left and right will affect the size of the bevel. And at the moment, if I get to an edge, I can't go further than that. So do note that that's going to start distorting this 45-degree angle. Now what's worth noting is you can do this for multiple edges at the same time. So if I shift select here and press Ctrl and B again, we are doing this on both edges. And again, we can scroll up to make these look really nice and rounded. So that is an option as well. So we've got loads and loads of options there on bevels, and there are even more when you start getting into this. I will also mention now that we've got this more funky shape, if I go into 3 and go here and press I, we can inset this as well, and it will track with this rounded shape. But if we go too far, notice here we've got to the point where we don't like this because these edges have overlapped, or the vertices that are being created. As soon as they overlap, this is going to cause a load of problems and we get this face fighting that we don't want to see. So just be slightly careful with that. So that is something that's worth noting. The other thing that I want to mention, let's just Shift and D to duplicate this object over here. And I did mention this in the last video, but we need to be careful with both insetting and beveling if we've stretched this or scaled this. So if I just S and then do it in the Y, so we're just scaling in this direction here, and I start doing a bevel. Let's come to this edge, so 2 to edge mode, and then press Ctrl and B. You will notice that this now isn't at a 45-degree angle, it's at this very elongated angle, because at the moment our object has been stretched or scaled in this Y-axis, and this copies that scaling. Same with if I select this face and then press I, we get it insetting not evenly and exaggerated in the Y-axis because we've got this scaling. To solve that, tab out of edit mode and bring up the M panel where you can see that this scaling is off. And as long as we're in object mode, we can just press Ctrl and A and apply the scale, and this will no longer be a problem. I'm just going to press N to hide that M panel now that we've demonstrated that. And if I here, we can see that inset is now even. If I escape that and go into edge mode and Ctrl and B to bevel that edge, you can see this is now at 45 degrees. So just remember that tip from the last video. Let's delete that out. Tab back into edit mode. And the last of our features that we want to mention is the Extrude tool. Now this, if we just come into face mode, so 3 and select here. If we either come over here to extrude region, we get this icon and we can just drag it and pull it along. So we get this extruded out along the direction of the arrow, or we can just select here and hit E, and that will do the same thing. And you'll notice that if we've got this locked, we can always hit C to clear any constraints and change that into any other direction that we want it to be. And as normal, we could, for example, Shift and Y to lock it to everything other than the Y-axis to control where that is and make sure everything's straight. So we've got that option as we do that with extrusions. Now there are some problems with extrusions. For example, here, if I was to E to extrude, and instead of going out, come back, this isn't going to cause a problem. We can extrude it inwards, and that's going to work perfectly fine. Now, if I come out of that and try the same thing here, well, actually, let's do here because I want to demonstrate something with that later, and I E and extrude inwards, this causes a big problem. We end up with these faces here, where this is one big face, and we haven't got rid of all of these extra bits here, which is an issue. This is now not going to be a manifold object, and it's going to cause us some problems if we were to do things like 3D printing, and there's also issues with rendering with things like this. So to stop that happening, again, we've got two options. If we come here and go to extrude manifold, and you can see we have other options here. We'll come to a couple of them, but not all of them. If I extrude manifold here and do that, that removes this problem. And it will work it out, or generally work it out. This isn't perfect. Sometimes Blender does have slight issues, but that does work. Alternatively, if again we don't want to have to come over here, I'm just going to put that back, we can just press Alt and E, and then we have all those options here. So I can extrude manifold, and that will do exactly the same thing. Now, one of the other options that was available here, which is a great one, is if I select this face and then Shift select this face, if I press E to extrude these, it just extrudes in that direction, but we might not want it to extrude in this direction. You'll notice this is averaged out these two directions. It should have gone in this direction for this face and that direction for that face, and instead it's averaged them out, but we might not want that. So let's undo that. What we can instead do is press Alt and E, and we can choose to extrude faces along normals, and that will extrude them both perpendicular to their faces. So you can see now that this one has gone perfectly in that direction, and this one has gone up 45 degrees. So we get lots and lots of different options here depending on what you want to do. So in edit mode, those are our main ways of editing, and hopefully those little extra tips will help you do exactly what you want to do. Now I do just want to mention one thing before we finish, and I always like to finish these Blender Basics videos on a tip that we need to know about, or at least should be something to be aware of, and that is, if we have a look at this menu, we have our option here to add objects. And we can Shift and A to add in additional objects. In fact, let's go into object mode and just G this over to the side. So this, if we're in object mode, and we Shift and A, is normally how we'd bring in, let's say, a cube. And that's perfectly fine. We've got one cube here, and we've got this cube here that we've edited. But, let's just move this off to the side. If we go into edit mode, and we press Shift and A, and we bring in a cube, we've got another cube here. But, and this is a common problem, this is now part of the object that we were in edit mode for. So if I tab out of edit mode, you can see we've now got that cube that we'd made earlier. And if I come to select this object, we're selecting both. And we generally don't want to do that. This also, if we just undo everything, causes some other problems that if in edit mode I Shift and A and bring in a cube and then move this to somewhere here, this is going to create an overlap. And while that overlap isn't a huge problem for 3D printing and some rendering, it can be an issue because at the moment, the faces, let's just go into edit mode and select this face, is being selected through the other object. If we look in X-ray mode, these are intersecting each other in a way that we generally don't want. So there aren't that many instances. There are some, but there aren't many instances where we want to create an object in edit mode. We generally want to keep them as separate objects, so come back to object mode before you create any new objects. Otherwise you get this problematic situation where they're all one object, and if we wanted to use, say, like a modifier, this is going to modify all of these objects together. For example, I could add in a bevel, and straight away it's not letting me add in this bevel because at the moment it has got a clamp. So if I took that off, then we can do this and it will work fine on this object, but it's causing problems on our object over here. So it's not working correctly. You can see it's creating some strange overlaps here. So we don't want to use that modifier with these objects together. So it is much better to have them separate so we have more control. Let's get rid of that, otherwise we're going to cause problems. I appreciate I haven't spoken much about modifiers yet, but I just wanted to make sure that you are aware of that problem. If you are finding these Blender Basics videos useful, please do hit that like button. It helps share them around and makes other people find them more easily. And in our next Blender Basics video, we're going to be talking about booleans. Have a great day, guys.